Hello everyone and welcome. As you can see, things are a little bit different tonight. We had a couple of players that weren't able to play, and so we had unfortunately had to cancel our session. But this gave me the opportunity to still come up with a little episode, a bit of behind the scenes look at what's going on in Barovia at the same time as our 6 adventurers are venturing into Barovia. I hope you enjoy. Strahd von Zarovich stood silently upon the balcony of Castle Ravenloft, his piercing eyes surveying the bleak, fog-choked lands of Barovia. The mountains loomed like silent sentinels, casting long shadows over the valley below. He could hear the distant rumble of thunder, a reminder of the storm ever present over his domain. Yet, despite the oppressive gloom, there was a flicker of something new, a disturbance in the air, a shift, as if fate had brought him fresh blood to his cursed land. The ruler of Barovia knew, without needing to be told, that adventurers had arrived. Their very presence gnawed at the edges of his consciousness, an echo of inevitability that came with such interlopers. Strahd's lips curved into a faint smile. These newcomers, these fools, would either join the ranks of the others who had tried and failed, or they would be the ones who would finally bring him the challenge he had so longed for. The thought was almost tantalizing. His existence had become a slow, suffocating rhythm of cruelty and control. Perhaps it was time to stir the stagnant waters of his domain. As if summoned by his thoughts, the door to the balcony creaks open. Rahadin, his ever-loyal chamberlain, steps forward. The man's tall, gaunt figure was unsettling as ever, his dark eyes constantly darting, never still. Yet there was always a certain reverence about his movements, a reverence that came from long years of service, and perhaps fear. "Master," Rahadin began, his voice low and measured. "It seems new adventurers have crossed into Barovia. They have been spotted near the village of Barovia. Should I have them dealt with?" Strahd did not turn to face his chamberlain, but instead continued to stare out over his land. His voice, when it came, was cool and deliberate, filled with an ancient wisdom. "I know, Rahadin," he said. "You need not tell me. The land speaks to me of their arrival. The mists shift in their wake, whispering of their fates." He paused for a moment, his fingers tightening ever so slightly around the stone railing. "The question is not whether they will die, but how long they will live." Rahadin bowed his head, acknowledging the Dark Lord's insight. "Shall I prepare the guests for your entertainment?" Strahd's smile deepened. "Let them come. I will observe them for a while. If they prove interesting, I may offer them something more than death. But be ready. When the time comes, we shall see if they are worthy of more than just a fleeting struggle. Rahadin nodded and turned to leave, but as he did, Strahd's voice stopped him. "Send word to Madame Eva. Tell her I wish to know what she sees. If she has had her visions of these adventurers." Rahadin paused, but did not question. "As you wish, my lord." With Rahadin gone, Strahd stood alone on the balcony once more, the mist below swirling in patterns only he could decipher. He could feel Madame Eva's presence in the land like an invisible thread, a constant at the edge of his awareness. The Vistani seer had always known more than she had let on. Her glimpses into the future hidden behind her cryptic words and tarot cards. Strahd's eyes narrowed, a rare glint of intrigue flickering within them. Would these adventurers be the ones to break his curse, as so many others had hoped? Would they be the ones to challenge his reign and end his eternal dominion? Or would they simply fall, like all the rest, into the fog of forgotten souls? A soft chuckle escapes his lips. Time will tell. Time will tell. Madame Eva sat in her dimly lit tent, the flickering flame of a single candle casting long shadows on the worn fabric walls. The air smelled faintly of incense and herbs as she took a deep breath, settling herself into the task at hand. She spread the worn deck of tarot cards before her, each one a gateway to the unknown. With a practiced hand, she began to flip them one by one, her ancient eyes growing as the fates of the newcomers of Barovia were laid out before her. The first card revealed itself, its edges worn, an image of a figure in flowing robes, hands raised as if channeling arcane power. Madame Eva's lips curled into a faint, knowing smile. The mage, master of the unknown, master of knowledge. But power without wisdom is as dangerous as a blade in a child's hand. His pursuit of magic may lead him to salvation, or to madness. Can his intellect pierce the veil of Barovia's curse? Or will this thirst for understanding drag him deeper into endless night? She picked up the next card, her brow furrowing slightly. This card depicted a figure with a silver chalice bathed in light. The purifier, Madame Eva murmured softly. Her touch is both a blessing and a curse. She seeks to cleanse, to heal. But sometimes the curse is worse than the disease. Will she rid Barovia of its suffering, or will she become the instrument of its doom, unwittingly sealing it in its own eternal purity? The land hungers for salvation, but can it survive the price of her righteousness? The third card reveals itself. The image of a figure clad in armor, holding a sword up high. Madame Ava's lips parted with a whispered sigh. The paladin, a warrior of light, bound by duty, but with a soul heavy with judgment. Will he see the darkness within himself? His strength will be tested, not just against the fiends that plague this land, but against the very heart of his own righteousness. Whether he will be a beacon or a tyrant, the scales are yet to be balanced. She reaches for the next card, fingers trembling ever so slightly. A shiver passed through Madame Ava as she flips over the next card, revealing a cloaked figure whose face was hidden in shadow. Ah, the hooded one. Secrets cling to this one like the mists. What lies beneath the hood? A mind sharper than any blade, a heart colder than stone. Perhaps. Or perhaps the true face of destiny lies behind that veil. Perhaps. Or perhaps the true face of destiny lies behind that veil. Only time will tell whether this one is the key to unraveling the curse, or if they will be a dark force binding this land in shadow. Trust not what is hidden. She flips out the next card. This card shows a creature of fur and teeth, wild and untamed, its eyes burning with a primal hunger. And here lies the beast, born of instinct, driven by forces of nature. There is strength here, raw and unyielding. But can it be harnessed? Or will it consume all in its path? The land knows this one well. Will she be the destroyer or the protector? There is a fine line between the two. Her fate, like her nature, is unpredictable. Finally, Madame Ava turned over the last card, revealing a calm figure sitting in meditation, their hands resting in perfect balance. The monk, at peace with the world and yet so far apart from it. In a land where darkness is always near, can this one remain untouched? The key to Barovia's curse may lie not in battle or magic, but in inner peace. But peace is fragile, and even the stillest waters can hide dangerous depths. Madame Ava sat back, her gaze lingering on the cards. The fates of these six, so intertwined with the curse of Barovia, were now before her. The threads of destiny twisted, elusive as always. Perhaps one Perhaps all will play their part, but none will escape unscathed. This is true. The curse will test them, break them, and in the end, perhaps, they will break it. She gathered the cards slowly, the whispers of prophecy filling the air. Only time would tell if these travelers would be the ones to end the nightmare that had held Barovia for so long.